This is Ingleside Reviews, Innovators Unveiled. And now your host, A.D. Edwards.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Ingleside Reviews, Innovators Unveiled. Today, we're joined by Llance Kezner, the co-founder of Millie Sipping Broth, an innovative and award-winning product that has really redefined what healthy snacking is. You see, Llance and his wife have transformed a simple idea into a nationally recognized brand, earning accolades like the Sophie Gold Award. And their story is a testament to creativity, persistence, and the ability to identify unmet needs in the market. But before we dive into their journey, let's start by learning a little bit about Llance, who he is, what his background is, his inspirations, and how his entrepreneurial spirit came to life. Llance, welcome to the show.
AD, that's a wonderful introduction. I hope I live up to it.
Oh, I'm sure you already have, my friend. And thank you for coming to us. And we here at Innovators Unveiled, we want to give the message to those who are listeners that they can do what they want to set their heart out to do. No matter what obstacles and challenges they face, every entrepreneur has that story. So that's what we're all about. So let me ask you this. Where are you from and how did your upbringing influence your values? Because you got an interesting product.
Well, from Bellevue, Washington, just outside of Seattle, if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
Born here, grew up here. My wife also is a native of Washington as well. And went to school here, but had the opportunity to travel all over the world.
Right. So let me ask this then. Were you entrepreneurial as a child? Did you have any early ventures or ideas that set the stage for your career?
So it's funny you asked that because I was born into a family of entrepreneurs. My father and mother had their own business, and that's all I knew growing up. It was, kind of hammered into my head that I should be, my own boss, even as a young guy. I remember my first taste of that was my father used to sell Christmas trees during the holidays. And so here I was, a 6-year-old kid hustling people on Christmas trees. They would go up and they wanted to buy like the lower price one. And I would say, but look at this one over here, which was 3 times the price. Look at this one. Isn't this one nicer? And, that was kind of my early entry into being an entrepreneur, which is you have to know how to sell and be okay with it.
Yes. Yeah. And comfortable with hearing the word no. Because if you're a salesperson, you're going to hear no more than you hear yes. And you have to be able to continue going after you hear the word no.
Although it was hard for them to say no to a 6-year-old. So, most of the time I got them to buy the more expensive Christmas tree.
Llance, you must have been a cute 6-year-old, I'm sure.
I was a little chubby guy.
Well, that's still cute. So usually entrepreneurs, they're creative. So let me ask the question, what role did creativity play in your childhood, in your early years?
I think that creativity, it's not something that I necessarily thought that I had. It just was there. Um, I think early on, I was always looking at ways in which I could, kind of entertain myself. This is all before video games and all this kind of stuff. So I was always looking for ways to kind of invent things, whether it was for my own, pleasure or joy or whatever, or had this idea of maybe someone would want this. Um, my wife Lori also, and we didn't know this until we got, until later on in our relationship, she also did the same thing. It was really interesting how we both had that in common, where she would make little buttons to sell to people or T-shirts to sell to people. So I think that, both of us came from this very creative, uh, uh, background that was just there.
Okay, that makes sense. Was health and wellness always a passion of yours, or did that develop later in life?
I got to tell you, it wasn't something that we set out to do necessarily. We kind of backed into it. The product was really made to help Lori during the day, um, and with her wellness goals. Now, did that mean that we set out to thinking that, everyone's gonna want that? It wasn't. It just happened to be that other people had the same, expectations from the product we created, and then we realized that there was a bigger need out there.
So, how did that idea of Millie's sipping broth come about?
Well, Lori, used to be a teacher, and during the day, she would want to have a snack in between classes. Didn't have a lot of time. Wanted something that would be satisfying, and wasn't all of the leftover cakes and cookies that were left in the teacher's room. The teachers would bring all their leftovers from the weekend, and so hopefully, people would eat them. So she wanted something that was a lot healthier for herself, and so she used to bring a bouillon cube to school to have in between because she didn't want coffee, she didn't want sugar, she didn't want caffeine, she wanted something savory, and I said, "You know what? That's really unhealthy because that's for cooking. It's got a lot of sodium, there's a lot of artificial ingredients in it. Let me make something healthier for you." And so I made this mixture of, spices and herbs and I put it together, and she said, "This is great, but let's put it in a tea bag." Because then I can just steep it and then drink it without getting all of the ingredients in my mouth. So we, got some Lipton tea bags, ripped them open, dumped out the green tea, put this mixture in it, and we made about 10 of them at our in our kitchen, and she took them to school, put some in the break room, and they were gone by the time she came back, and she told me, and I said, "Oh boy, I think we have something here."
Those bags there, or did they know they were hers?
I think that she told a few people that, what it was, and our first flavor was tomato basil. And so I think she told people, "Hey, this is some broth. Why don't you try it?" And everyone, they went crazy over it. They really liked it a lot.
So, would you say that? I'll ask you the question. I don't want to put words in your mouth. What problem were you trying to solve?
The problem was giving someone a healthy snack during the day that, satisfied them, but also didn't ruin their appetite for dinner, didn't it got them away from reaching for a bag of Cheetos or, unhealthy cookies or something like that. So, it was really helping someone satisfy a snacking desire or a snacking, urge, giving them something that was satisfying so that they can continue. And it developed into a way for people to stop and kind of reduce their anxiety. That kind of came later on.
Okay, that makes sense because it's important for entrepreneurs to know that the best products are products that solve a crisis, solve a problem, or fill a void. And so you knew exactly what your issue was and you guys solved it. How did you go from concept to reality? So we know you started in the kitchen, you're making these products in your kitchen, but what was the entire development process? Because you had the concept, you made a couple of sample products, but how did you to reality to getting it out there on a regular basis? Because I'm sure you also have a job at this time, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we were both working, and I think that what was going through my mind was we had to do 2 things, which was we had to be able to, get it out of our kitchen somehow, and that meant pulling in some kind of a partner who was gonna make it for us professionally. In this case, it's called a co-packer.
Mhm.
So, we had to be able to get it as quickly as we could to a co-packer, but at the same time, we needed to get feedback from people who would actually pay us money for it. And those were the 2 things that were going through our mind. So, it was kind of like a little bit of a chicken and egg situation there because in order to get to the co-packer, we had to commit to a certain volume, which means that we would have to pay. But the thing is if we didn't know if someone was actually going to pay for our product, we didn't want to, go that way. So we kind of were doing a little bit of a chicken and egg, and so we created in a lot of products, people will call them MVP, which is a minimum viable product, which is it's something that basically, the packaging isn't perfect. The pricing may be a little bit out of whack or whatever. But the thing is that we wanted to get that as quickly as we could to somebody. So we got a booth at the Pike Place Market here in Seattle. That's the place where they throw fish at you. If you've ever seen uh, video of that. Um, and we set up right across the street from the original Starbucks, and we sold broth on the street during the summer. And I got to tell you, that's probably one of the hardest things to do is, it's like 95 degrees outside, selling someone something hot to drink.
Mhm.
But people came by, and the most important thing that happened out of that was not that people would buy it, but that we got our 5 to 10-second pitch down because we had to do it thousands of
Mhm.
times in order for it to make sense for them to want to engage or take a sample. We had to get it right.
Right. That sounds like some exciting times. Did you face any major challenges introducing a new product to the food and beverage market?
I think, we haven't finished with the challenges. We basically created a whole new category. I mean, our product is it's broth in a tea bag. I mean, you got 2 things going on here. You've got a tea bag, which people are, they normally will associate with something that's sweet or green tea or something like that. And then a savory concept, right?
Right.
Which is it soup? Is it broth or whatever? Luckily, we've been drinking broth for thousands of years. What made you feel better when you were sick, right?
Yes.
Um, w- uh, Broth has been, part of, in the South. I mean, broth was huge during the Depression. So we luckily, people understood that. And I think the thing that got us over kind of the early hump was finding the people that needed our product the most. And those were the people who were trying to watch their weight, the people who were trying to, you know, curb that snacking urge as much as they possibly could with something that made sense. And so that really was the main focus, and that's kind of what's driven us into more of a mass market awareness about our product because it's still a novel, new, and innovative idea that most people have never heard of before.
Yes, I must be honest. I am very curious about the product. I when I read about it, I was interested, and my wife does something similar to what your wife was doing, and I don't believe my wife knows about this product, but she definitely will know now because she does intermittent fasting, and she does other things, but she takes like the bouillon cube and the that she'll have an opportunity to get different flavored broths. I'm thinking she'll be excited. What markets are you in the U.S.? Are you? I'm here in Texas in Houston. Are you in the southern market, or do we get it online? How do we get this?
Yeah, so The answer is yeah, we're at about 3,000 locations right now. We got discovered during COVID by WeightWatchers, and they put us on the front page of their website and sold us to their 4.5 million subscribers, and that gave us the confidence to reach out to really big retailers, and one of them was Walmart. And now we're in half the Walmart stores as of October. And then last week we launched in half of the, or more than half of the Sam's Clubs in the country. So I'll bet there's one that's pretty close to you. And we're online
Awesome.
on Amazon. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. One of my questions was going to be, what are some early successes that boosted the confidence of you guys in the company? But you just answered that for me. So let's talk about scaling and recognition. Now, winning the Sophie Gold Award, tell us what that is. But we know it's a major milestone. And what did it mean for you and your brand?
So the Specialty Food Association has something called the Fancy Food Show. It's typically on the West Coast and East Coast. And every year they have awards for new innovative products in various categories. We were fortunate enough to win Outstanding Hot Beverage of the Year. So we won a gold award. It's basically like an Oscar award for food. And so we won that for our sipping broth, and it was the first time that a broth or a savory beverage had ever won that award. And what it did for us was it raised the awareness in the specialty food uh, community about this new innovation. It also gave us legitimacy because it kind of established that we were the first ones to come up with this idea. We were recognized with this international award, and you know, at the time, it was pretty early in our growth. So it's not like some really big company came to us right away and said, "Okay, we want your product." We were still very, very new. Manufacturing it was always kind of a challenge because it's a simple idea, but there are a lot of challenges there. But you know, it does give us this credibility. Does it make is it the ultimate thing? No, it's not the ultimate thing that's making us successful. The bottom line is that the product has to stand on its own because the average consumer doesn't even know that award exists. And so our focus really is standing behind that original award and making sure that our product tastes amazing almost every single time that it's used.
Exactly. Makes sense to me. So, how did you manage to scale your business to reach major retailers like Walmart and Sam's? Was just being on Weight Watchers enough, or did you have to do some
Well, part of
in
part of
retailers?
the issue, yeah. So part of the thing with retailers is they don't want to bring a product onto the shelf that people don't know about. So it's very rare for them to bring something in that people don't know about. And the reason is because if people don't go to buy it, then they're going to discontinue it. So our goal was always to build up an awareness of our product to a point that made sense to a national retailer like that. So that direct to consumer sales was really really important to us in the early years. So you know that was predated Weight Watchers. The Weight Watchers kind of boosted us to another level. But getting the attention of a national retailer like that is not easy. And we were fortunate enough that Walmart had something called an open call. And an open call basically was looking for products that were made in the United States. They wanted us to submit to them our product for them to consider bringing into the store. So we did it in 2023, and there was over 7,000 products that were submitted. And this is for
Wow.
everything, right? It's not just food; it's everything that would be sold at a Walmart. And so they chose 800 companies to meet with, and we were one of those. and they gave 70 of those companies something called a golden ticket, which means a deal on the spot. So they gave us a deal right at the meeting for half of the stores, which we were floored with. Then it then required us to make enough product to be able to meet it,
Right.
which, took us a year to get ready for. So we were making more product in a week than we had made in an entire year.
Wow. That's an awesome story. Now, how important was the customer feedback in shaping the evolution of your products?
I think that it was critical in that. I'll give you an early example. The product we used to call the product Millie's Savory Teas, and the customer feedback on that name really told us something. They basically said, "What the tea part of it just didn't make any sense because they were thinking, it's gonna be sweet, it's gonna be something like that, and then when they tasted it, they go, "Wait a minute, that's not tea." And, we saw that eye to eye with these people at the Pike Place Market. And so then we quickly realized that we needed to change the name to Millie Sipping Broth because it was more in line with what they were expecting. The teabag part of it is still something that's a little, different for people, but they gotten over that part. The other part was, what do people use it for and who needs to have our product? And we really were very focused on the feedback we were getting from people about the need for the product so that we could focus our messaging to those people.
Okay. All right. So it's all a process that you had to you really got to think in motion and make decisions in motion when these things come about. You can't I guess you can't anticipate every situation that might arise. So you got to be flexible.
No, no, that's why it was most important for us to get it out in front of people to see if they would buy it,
Right.
because that tells you so much right up front. Does the name make sense? Does the idea make sense? Does the price make sense? Do you like the quality of the product? You find out, and you can't plan that out. And the problem is, I think a lot of people, they try to plan that out, it doesn't work. You really have to just go for it
Right.
and then kind of take it as it happens and be nimble.
Yes. Now, what role does innovation play in your business model and in your product development?
So our focus, my wife and I, are solely focused on innovative ideas. We are not trying to reinvent something that already exists. The reason for that is there are enough people making barbecue sauce, to fill the entire planet. We're not trying to reinvent those things. We're looking for ideas that really make sense, that not are just improvements on existing things, but things that you kind of look at and go, I can really sink my teeth. I can imagine myself spending 10 years on that idea. And that's why we came up with this. We had a little bit of experience doing that before we came up with this product. We had a couple of other food products that were also very innovative, but we learned kind of to adjust to, because the market for those was too narrow, and so this really was a much broader market.
So speaking of different markets, there's so many things out there, like you mentioned, barbecue sauces and whatnot. But you're in the health market. You're in the health industry of the food segment. So when it comes to sustainability and health, how important is it? Is the health consciousness of the or the aspect of health conscious when it comes to your product and its success?
The our product is vegan, and so, from the get-go, we're all plant-based, all, not using any animal protein or anything like that. So that off the and we didn't do that for any kind of, reason other than the fact that Lori, my wife, is a vegetarian. And then we also realized that the protein didn't really add any flavor to the product. Subsequently, we realized that the importance of having an all plant-based diet, and this is a while ago when we did this. It was before everything started kind of coming up plant-based. We realized that that really was the trend, that people really were seeking out that to eliminate animal proteins as much as possible so that they could, kind of have a healthier lifestyle. And so that really, set a standard for us, and realizing that that's gonna be pretty important. It's not the main selling point of our product by any means. It just happens to be a great feature
Yes.
of our product, and I think a lot of companies make a mistake in, you know, kind of making people face this dilemma of, well, it's going to be healthy, so you better like the taste.
Right, right.
That's not what we do. We're focused on flavor,
Mhm.
and oh, by the way, it's
Yeah,
healthy.
yeah, it's a byproduct. I see what you're saying. So, yeah, because
Exactly.
a lot of things that, people start to eat or consume because of the health conscious aspect, for some, it doesn't last long because it's not enjoyable. Sometimes you can get used to it and it's fine. Like, for example, in our household, we made the switch from regular soda, and we only drink sodas with our alcoholic beverages, but that's another story. But we go to zero sugar now. And at first, Lance, I was like, what is now? If you slip a regular Coca Cola in on me, I'll say, hey, this tastes too sweet. But a lot of times, the healthy is not something that people get used to and they just fall off the wayside. So I'm glad you focus on flavor, and it's very fortunate that it's also healthy. Now, do you promote any things with the environment with because there's veganism involved? You a lot of people that are tree huggers and they love this kind of stuff. It's good to know if you do.
Well, like I said, the byproducts of what we're doing are advantageous in many ways, health wise, also for sustainability. So because it's plant based, we're not using, it's not as big of an impact
On
to the earth.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of broth that's out there that is made ahead of time. It's liquid, right?
Hmm.
So it's liquid in a Tetra Pak uh, container that's shipped to a store. We are a dry product that you add water to after you
I
buy it.
never thought about that.
So
That's a good point.
it's a huge cost savings to the end consumer. And just think about it. Thousands of gallons of water are not being shipped
Right.
across the country. You already have water,
Yes.
right? So and we use recycled cardboard for our packaging. So there's a lot of that we have built into that. And I mean, we've had opportunities to do things like K cups,
Hmm.
which are really, really, right now the technology is really not great for the environment, with all the plastic that's
Right.
involved that you can't recycle. And so we've avoided that to stick to, this, kind of, paper bag with, plants in it, basically.
Let me ask this about I know your journey's just started, you and your wife, but along the way, what so far has been the most rewarding moment in your journey as an entrepreneur?
I think the everything is difficult. There are a lot of difficulties. I mean, most of the time now we find ourselves solving problems that arise, because of various things and with an eye towards growth. Um, and I think that, some of the most rewarding things are when we think of a new market, let's just say uh, hospitals, company break rooms, even airlines. If we're thinking about putting our product into those new markets, and we get a response which is positive, that's massive.
Yes.
You know, we have the opportunity to work with a very large hospital system because they really like the ability to for you to make a fresh cup of broth right on the spot. And, instead of getting salty water, which is normally served to people in their bed, which makes them angry, right? So that's the first thing that's really rewarding is getting that response. The second thing that's rewarding, and this happens probably on a weekly basis, is that phone call from a person who said, "I found your product at Sam's Club, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed the flavor. This is amazing. I'm gonna serve this to my cousin or my aunt who's going through chemotherapy because I think this might be enjoyable for them." That really, above all, makes us feel incredible that we know that, we don't know these people, right? They just picked our product up. They trusted that it might be something they're interested,
Mhm.
and they went out of their way to tell us, how much they like it. And we get those comments. People will call us or email us every week, and that is just the most amazing part of
That's
this.
awesome. That's really of the product. Are there any decisions you wish you had made differently, Lance?
I think that you know, part of the growth process is making mistakes. You have to make mistakes, learn from them, and then avoid them going forward. I don't think that there's anything I would change because we wouldn't know we wouldn't know what the lessons are. Uh, really early on, there was a major, very large company here in Seattle that wanted to put our products in their break rooms, and we tested it out for 6 months. The problem was that the company that was making our product for us was burning the ingredients,
Mm.
and the quality of the product was terrible. Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't telling
Right.
anyone because we didn't want the opportunity to go by.
Right. Right.
And, so, you know, maybe I should have said, "Hey, we're not ready yet. Let's can we get back to you when we solve this problem?" But, aside from that, pretty much, you need to learn where the trap doors are, really.
That's true. That's what most entrepreneurs say. They learn you fail just so you can succeed. That's what it's all about. Now, how do you balance running a business with maintaining your personal family life?
Well, as you can imagine, my wife and I work together on a daily basis, and it was, during COVID, it was even more intense because our social group was condensed down to her and I and our dog and anyway, so yeah, it's a challenge. We work out of our house. I'm sitting in a little. We created a broth bar in our front living room, and so this is where we come every morning and have coffee or in my afternoon broth or whatever. Um, but yeah, we work at it. We really work at making it work.
Yes.
And there are times where we either one of us will go, I just got to go. I got to go do my other favorite thing. I like to ski, and Lori's the thrift shopper. So, those things kind of, or I like to go biking when the weather's
Yeah.
better. But, making sure that those things are a priority are really important because as an entrepreneur, you're working 24/7. You could work
Yes.
24/7, and that's not good. That's not good for
Yeah, it
anyone.
could suck you up and consume you. So, are there any innovative new products that you're currently working on that you could share with us?
So, yeah, so we have more flavors that are coming down the road. They're very international oriented flavors, and we're excited for those to come out. We're waiting for our major retailers to kind of give us a signal that okay, they're willing to give us more shelf space. Because at Walmart, we're in the soup section, literally right next to Campbell's soup. I mean, it's red and white, and then the broth section's right there, and eye level is Millie sipping broth. Um, so that's coming. Really what we're focused on is growing those food service opportunities. Wouldn't it be amazing, AD, if you were on a plane and the beverage cart came by and they said, "Do you want coffee, tea, or broth?"
Yes,
What I
that
mean,
would be
wouldn't that
amazing.
be an amazing
That would
thing?
be
Yeah.
amazing because on the flights I take, I don't want to name the airline, but I fly often, and and my wife and I we do keto from time to time, and it's a challenge. So they offer things on the plane, but sometimes we bring our own stuff with us. But it would be nice to have an opportunity. And I'm not a coffee drinker. Now, my wife, my son, they got to have it, man. I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but I will drink broth. So that would be a good option. And that's a great idea. I hope it happens.
Oh, thank you. We need less hyped up people on airplanes, from caffeine and sugar,
I
right?
agree. So, how do you see the health conscious food and beverage industry evolving in the next decade or so?
It's only going to get bigger. There's the natural food movement took a long time to kind of get into the mainstream, and companies like Whole Foods really kind of brought that in. But then you've got companies like Trader Joe's who are really taking the lead, and Costco, by the way, really taking the lead and bringing new and innovative, ideas and healthier products to the market. And I just think it's going to continue. The consumer is going to continue to drive that. The younger consumers, right, the Gen Zs, Gen Alphas that are coming out, they're growing up where healthier products are the norm now. Now, that doesn't mean that they're gonna not go for, their extreme flavored, Cheetos every once in a while, but, this is normal for them. So, I really think that the tide is, gonna continue with healthier, natural products, going in the future. Because guess what? You can get what you're looking for out of them. It may, crops have differences, right? There might be one crop of tomatoes that has more water than other, and the flavor is a little bit different. And with our product, there are some differences from batch to batch because of that. But guess what? I mean, that makes it real.
Yes, and yeah, I agree totally with you. We started doing keto from time to time, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And the things that we can eat now, the keto hamburger buns, the keto pasta, they've changed. And it makes it more easy for the consumer to get a healthy choice. You know, because when you think about it, in my opinion, what makes you successful with trying to change your eating habits is having choices to replace the old habit. I'm really excited about this, and I can't wait to go to Walmart and pick this up as soon as I can. Now, what legacy do you hope Millie's sipping broth will leave behind?
Well, we hope to build a very big business, and we hope to inspire our boys to want to, learn about what's going on in our business, and to want to, be able to try things on their own eventually, and to have confidence. Really, I think that's the biggest thing, is that we want to instill confidence in our kids,
Mhm.
and they see us on a daily basis get our wins and losses. And in today's world where electronic entertainment is valued more than anything else, it's really difficult, to kind of pass that knowledge along. And we're very fortunate that that they're forced to see what's going on. Um, does it make it easy for them sometimes? No, because there are times where there are challenges that we face that make it so we can't travel, or there might be a problem that interrupts something else. But I think you know that building a generational knowledge base and a lifestyle for our kids is really what we're trying to do.
Excellent. So finally, Llance, what message would you like to share with listeners who are aspiring entrepreneurs themselves?
I think that you should uh, really follow your passion with guidelines, and the I what your idea is today will not be what it is at the end of next week. And just get used to change. Um, be willing to listen to people who will pay you for your product and focus on that word, need your product. And align your idea with those people, and you will figure out where your product needs to be, where it belongs, and the kind of the path that it needs to follow in order for it to get you what you're looking for. And then have a loose idea of what your goal is down the road, because it will change. There's never going to be an absolute in what you're pursuing, but have a loose idea of what is the satisfaction level you're looking for. Can you do this for the next 10 years? Um, so those are the guidelines that I would follow.
That's good advice. So, Llance, thank you for sharing your incredible story of Millie's Sipping Broth and giving us a behind-the-scenes look at how creativity, passion, and persistence can bring a unique idea to life. Listeners, let Llance journey inspire you to pursue your own creative ideas and find solutions to the challenges you care about. Now, Llance, before we wrap things up, is there anything you want to pitch or show us and let us know once again where we could find your product?
Yeah. So if you go to our website, sippingbroth.com, you can buy it there, have it delivered to you. There's a store finder on there, so you can find the nearest store that carries our product. There's a map there. Or just sign up for our newsletter, because we have cooking ideas, we have recipes, we have little contests that we run from time to time. So definitely get on our mailing list there, so that we can communicate with you and show you how to use the product. We have great social media. We have all kinds of fun videos showing us using the product. And I got to tell you, AD, I think when you get our product, you're going to need to try it in a margarita, because savory margarita, I'll get an offline. I'll give you the recipe for that, but I think you'll like that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I will. Llance, thanks again for coming on our show. And to your listeners, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and rate this podcast. Until next time, I'm your host, A.D. Edwards, signing off.
See you next time.